This is a Fox News alert. The world watching the markets in the aftermath of the Brexit vote. Right now, we're looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average here at home, posting a 255-point loss. This after suffering a big loss on Friday. This market had been down as much as 300 points just a little bit ago. We'll keep watching it for you. Meantime, this is Outnumbered. I'm Sandra Smith, and here today is Harris Faulkner, co-host of After the Bell on Fox Business Money. Melissa Francis is here. Host of Kennedy, also on Fox Business. We have today's hashtag One Lucky Guy, Lou Dobbs, host of Lou Dobbs Tonight, and he is outnumbered. I get scared to tell a guy like Lou Dobbs that, but that is the fact of the matter. What an amazing time for you to be covering these markets, Lou.
Well, it's an extraordinary time for all of us to be living through it. You know, watching these markets sell off, as you said, the low point, over 300 points down on the Dow. Today. We're moving back here a little. But it's going to be volatility extended, I think, for some time, and a rough ride.
And that can be a scary thing for the average investor in this country.
For everybody.
So you're going to have to make some sense and calm us all down in just a minute.
I'll do my best.
All right, Europe dealing with bigger losses than we are today. Some trading in Britain was temporarily halted, in fact, after certain stocks lost as much as 8%. The surprise outcome of the British vote to leave the European Union sent world markets plummeting on Friday. And as we watch the Dow today, you'll remember it closed down more than 600 points that day. And now there are protests in the UK amid growing calls for a revote. A petition calling for another referendum is gaining signatures from those who want to remain part of the EU. Meantime, Secretary of State John Kerry visiting Brussels and London today, urging leaders to make a responsible transition. He's encouraging the other 27 European Union nations not to be angry or vengeful about the British vote to leave the bloc.
The values which have united us for such a long period of time did not change on the day of that vote. The United States will maintain its special relationship and strong relationship with Great Britain. It is my intention to do everything in our power to make this transitional process as sensible and as smooth as it can be.
Before we get to what it means to make a responsible transition, Lou, just make some sense. What is happening? What does this mean for us here at home?
What is happening is great anxiety and fear that most people thought had been properly mitigated by all of the polls leading into the Brexit vote. No one was prepared for this. For whatever reason, some of the smartest and brightest minds in markets everywhere decided that for once polls were going to be 100% correct. They weren't, and it was a shock to the system. There is no rationality in this market. There's not always supposed to be. It's, as you know, Sandra, a highly psychological gathering of buyers and sellers. And the prevailing psyche right now is pure outright panic. Over what? I don't know. We're looking at the pound. We're looking at the euro plummet to 30-year lows.
So you mentioned the British pound, a 31-year low. We're seeing the currency today.
But interestingly, the euro is at a 30-year low as well. So you look at it as a negative for the UK. It's not. You look at it as a negative for the euro. It most certainly is, because you've just watched 20% of their exports move out of the quote-unquote common market. You've got a country with one of the strongest fiscal policies in place. This is really a terrible thing for the European Union.
Just kind of a common girl question.
Sure.
Because I'm not flying at 37,000 feet on this as you are.
Well, I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I think you are, actually. You get it more than I do. But just kind of on a basic level as we move ahead, I'm reading this morning that, you know, they could replace the prime minister by Friday. You know, I'm looking for some stability.
That'll fix everything.
Well, that's what it is. So I'm looking for some stability, but it's not going to come. I mean, the article that's going to pass, Article 50, they believe is going to pass, and that would stop any sort of revote situation. Does that bring us back? Like, what puts back in the confidence?
Well, Article 50 then commits them to the disengagement from the European Union. Nothing is going to stop this. All of the blather in the tabloid media in the UK, all of the blather on the so-called prestigious business press in this country.
I think we're blathering.
No,
I think there was a lot of hysteria, and that
Still
has
is.
led to panic.
But the reality is there is nothing happening here of a fundamental, concrete, specific, empirical nature that justifies what we're witnessing.
Absolutely
but you look
not.
at what's going on now. I mean, the brilliant Liz Klayman over on the Business Network, I think, made the best analogy. It's like you're driving down the highway and there was a big accident in front of you. It's screwed up your way down the road, but everybody adjusts. You get around it. You go on your way. You move forward in life.
Right.
And there's going to be arbitrage opportunities. I mean, you talk about how the pound and the euro have gotten hammered. Boy, I see that, and I say there must be opportunity in there.
If that's not a buy, I don't know what is.
But you also have a prime minister who's resigning over this issue. So you don't have leadership in this country. You don't have one person at the helm, and I think that's one thing that will calm the British
Friday might help.
and calm the markets. I don't think you should do it that quickly, but it's also the great divorce. You have Great Britain that always wanted an open marriage and has never been fully vested in the union, and then you have France and Germany like, fine, you want to go? Go now. You seriously
France
take
is
your
gonna be
recollection.
So they're the upset spouse in your configuration?
France and Germany. It was a crowded threesome, and they want Great Britain now that they've made the choice to just leave.
Kennedy has a way of elevating
I'm
an economic
by
discussion.
FBN
That's
today.
right, though.
Yeah, well, but honestly, I would point out for everybody who's rattled by looking at these markets, this is still just a 1.5% drop in U.S. markets that we're looking at today.
Plus Friday, or is it factored in?
This isn't huge volatility after what we saw on Friday.
Take a look at the Dow. It's above 17,000. For crying out loud, everybody wants to be, in a just all caught up in it. You're missing the essential point. These are the most stable, secure markets in the world. Those right here in this country. There is a premium for being in an American market, and we're getting the premium paid.
All right, we're going to keep watching these markets for you because anything can happen, and we'll bring it to you as it does. And the driving force behind the Brexit movement will be On Your World with Neil Cavuto today. UK Independence Party leader Nigel Farage weighs in on the surprise outcome and what it is a huge victory for him. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fox News channel.
And Brexit. Let's keep it going. Playing a big role in American presidential politics almost immediately yesterday. Donald Trump telling our own John Roberts the vote in the United Kingdom mirrors the anti-establishment feeling right here in the United States that carried him to his presumptive Republican nomination.
I really don't know if it does, but I got it right, and Hillary got it wrong, and Obama got it wrong, and Obama was very nasty when he said they get to the back of the line. It was a horrible thing to say. They wanted their independence. They didn't want to be governed by somebody that never even went there or never saw them. And it won't be the last.
Hillary Clinton is using the Brexit to take a few jabs at Trump.
We need leaders like yourselves at the local and state and federal level who understand how to work with other leaders to manage risks, who understand that bombastic comments in turbulent times can actually cause more turbulence.
Clinton also knocking Trump's response with an ad saying he was more concerned about how the Brexit would affect his bottom line than the American people. Trump responded with a flurry of tweets, as he often does. Quote, crooked Hillary Clinton, who called Brexit 100% wrong, along with Obama, is now spending Wall Street money on an ad on my correct call. And Clinton is trying to wash away her bad judgment call on Brexit with big dollar ads. Disgraceful. And in those ads, you know, a lot of stuff in those things. Was he right?
Well, I mean, you look at it. So Hillary Clinton called Brexit wrong. She was wrong on the Russian reset. She was very wrong on Libya. So for someone who, in theory, spent a lot of time on foreign policy, she certainly doesn't have a good sense of foreign policy or foreign affairs. I mean, she's the one that's sort of trying to scramble and spin this in her direction when, just like President Obama, who stood up there and said, listen, if you guys do this, you're going to have to get in the back of the queue, making a little quip. I mean, they just prove time and again that they don't have their finger on the pulse of what real people actually think.
So what does that mean, get in the back of the queue? I mean, is the president making a joke about this?
No, I mean, he's trying to bully the UK, and it was so embarrassing for him to go over
Does
there
he vote
in that
in the
joint
UK?
press conference with David Cameron and wag his finger at the press, and they pushed back immediately, as they absolutely should have. And if you stand back and you look at what Hillary Clinton and President Obama say about the Brexit, why do they want them to remain? Why don't they want the UK to exercise their sovereignty? sovereignty because they're authoritarians who want to control everything, and they think they have a better shot of doing that with a weak EU.
Yeah, I mean, the president getting in there with those words, get to the back of the line, isn't that what Hillary Clinton said to someone who tried to get her autograph that one time? Do you remember that? Get to the back of the line.
Well, what happened with John Kerry there to soothe the, obviously, the just agitated European nerves is he confounded everyone. And that is by suggesting that there won't be a bitter, petty, petulant response on the part of the European Union member states because he is counseling them. The problem is he forgot to counsel the president, who responded in a precisely petty, petulant manner and vindictive manner against the UK for thwarting his will. He is the most authoritarian inclined leader outside of the European Union that I can think of.
But I do want to hit on the comments, though, about the currency and Donald Trump. Do you think there was any misstep there? Do you think that could be, and I'm just playing the other side of this just for the sake of doing it, but Donald Trump making the comments, well, the weaker pound that now the country's dealing with could be good for business.
It is good for
Which
business.
is fact.
It's good for his business. It's good for any business within the European.
Hillary Clinton is seizing on those comments. It's insensitive.
But that's silly, and it may appeal on a certain level, but people who are paying attention to this are smart enough to understand monetary policy and exchange rate impact. It's just
because a cheaper currency there makes their
cheaper
goods.
currency makes the goods cheaper.
But it's better
what I
for
would say
tourists. If we go there, we buy stuff, it's cheaper for us.
Here's what I would say about Donald Trump, and I do think it's time for him to set aside his personal investments and business enterprises. He's there helping his family. He was doing that is to support his kids. But the fact of the matter is, as president now in a general election, president to be, or want to be, if you prefer, he has to focus strictly on what is before him.
So you don't think he should have gone? Because, I mean, look at the political opportunity and chance that he had by being there on the day that they were voting. He was
They're going to chew him up no matter what he does.
Okay.
The point is, as a matter of fact, I think the thing was a net plus. He looks like a genius once again.
For having been there. All right, we'll move on. A major ruling by the Supreme Court today, with the justices making their biggest decision on abortion in decades. We'll go live for reaction outside the U.S. Supreme Court, and 2 new national polls with dramatically different takes on the general election matchup between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, potentially. Is it her race to lose, or could she have a serious problem among independent voters? And we're making more Outnumbered right after the TV version of us wraps up. We pop up online, foxnews.com/outnumbered. Click on the Overtime tab. Or we're on Facebook Live now. Thousands of you watching that way. Either way, we're going to get your postings, your comments, your postings on the live chat or Facebook into our conversation. We'll see you there.